Have you ever wondered just how much money hotels make? Well, good news, Captain, because I own this hotel here. And in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to show you the numbers, how much it costs to actually refurb or set up a new bedroom, how much it costs in staffing, utilities costs, and where's the real money made in hotels? Is it the rooms? Is it the restaurant? Is it the bar? We're going to find out. Now, I bought this hotel a couple of years ago for £2.25 million. It was a bit of a rough time and it needed polishing up. Some rooms weren't refurbished and not even open or in use. The restaurant was closed. It had a thriving pub and bar and some regular customers. And there's odds and sods around the property that wasn't being used. And all of that I've had to bring together so that it becomes a commercially profitable enterprise. So now you know the deal, let's dive into it a little bit more on the numbers of hotels. Now, we've all stayed in a hotel before, we've seen them fall, and you must be thinking, well, this is going like gangbusters, they must be printing money. And hey, I was guilty of that. I've seen hotels, I've stayed in lots of hotels, and I thought, this is a great business. You get loads of people piled into a hotel, you get loads of economies of scale. And while some of that is true if you've got scalability in your hotel, actually, lots of hotels are just about getting by and barely making a profit. So I want to break down the strengths, weaknesses and opportunities and threats of a hotel and how you do make money from them, what size do they need to be, and if you're going to start refurbishing and opening new rooms, just how much money that's going to cost you. So let's go in a room. So let's break down that SWOT analysis of a hotel. Now, the strengths are you've got these massive established properties that if you fill up, you can make lots of money and there's lots of moats around your business. What do I mean by that? Well, a moat around your business is protection against competition. If you've got a castle and it's got 10 moats around it, no one's taking the castle away from you. Now, this hotel, 500 years old in parts of it. It's right in the middle of the high street and it's in a protected area. It's listed, so therefore people can't just go and compete with you and copy you. So I do like that. It's an established business with a big location, nice chunky freehold. That's huge strength to me. The weaknesses are it's hugely capital intensive. Whilst that's also a strength because that's a moat around your business, people have got a lot of capital to compete with you. The weaknesses are you have to keep on pushing money into refurbing. Rooms like this cost a lot of money to upkeep. And when people come to your hotel, they don't treat it like it's their home. They abuse the systems. Things get hammered. The opportunities are that you can bolt on lots of add-on services. Maybe you can do conferences and build a bar or a restaurant. And when people are staying in your hotels, usually they are much more frivolous with their spending capacity and will spend more. And the threats are most hotels now don't actually own their customers. There's Booking.com, Airbnb, Expedia, all taking a slice of the revenue. And I'm going to speak about that more when we break down the numbers of a hotel. So if you're owning a hotel and you want to get into this business, it's really important that you try and create a way where people book direct with you. So you own the customer's data rather than one of these big booking engines. 70% when I got here was coming from Booking.com. Now only a third of our bookings come from the platforms, and lots of people are coming direct to us. We're using Google PPC, Google AdWords and search engine optimization and winning awards to try and drive people back to us. Most hotel owners can't be bothered to do that. But when you're giving anywhere between 15 and 30% to these booking engines, that could be a big chunk of your profits. So there's a brief SWOT analysis here. There's some other points that are really tough about hotels as well, which is a weakness and a threat, if you like. The business is always on. It's a 365, 24-hour day operation. You know, you got lots of people staying here. People want stuff at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. They check in at midnight. And that's really stressful and intensive for your team that are running the business. So that's why small hotels are very difficult to make work. If you want to have a night porter, once you get past 30 rooms, all of that starts stacking up in terms of affordability. If you've got a small hotel, can you afford a night porter? No, you're probably therefore going to be on call. So our job here, when we bought this place, we only had 16 operational rooms. But I believe that in the future, we can have 30, 40, 50 rooms by extending it, buying other buildings, buying next door and extending rooms that are not being used, which I'll show you later on in the video. And that economies of scale really starts to hit your profit and loss. Because if you've got a 30, 40, 50 bedroom hotel or a 15 bedroom hotel, you still need a general manager, you still need a cook to do breakfast. And that's why you need economies of scale. So more rooms definitely helps. And then more people go to the bar, go to your restaurant, etc., etc. Talking about room refurbs. Now this room here, if I was to set one of these up, how much do you think that would cost? What's it going to cost for the bed and the really good lighting and the furniture? And it's all got to be hard wearing. What does it cost to put bathrooms in? All of that stuff needs to be thought about. Now I'm going to show you one of the rooms that hasn't been refurbished. I'll talk you through that, and then at the end of that little segment, I'll tell you just how much it roughly costs us. Now, anyone that's watched lots of my content, you'll know that I love buying businesses. I've done it so many times now. One of the things that I'm looking at is, can I fold this business into my particular existing empire? You know, can I leverage my management team, my marketing team, our knowledge, know-how, our IPs that we've built up over the years? And I definitely saw that with the hotel. And one of the other things is, I'm looking at, is there opportunities for me to mass improve the business? Now, in this little hallway alone, there's 2 rooms here that weren't being used. Now, my predecessors had refurbished some of the rooms, done quite a good job. We've refurbished some more, but there was loads of golden gems like this. Now, you've just seen that previous room, all done, all lovely, with a little bow on top. This is not that. Come and have a look. So this is the opportunity game. This was a bed set. And so what happened was, I think there was 5 bed sets that were let out on long-term lets to tenants because the predecessing owner times 2 decided that that was easier than running it as a complete hotel. You know, we get marketing, we know how to fill things and get lots of customers. So there was a kitchen here, a little loungy area here, bathroom over here, and it hasn't been touched. And this could be a lovely suite. And rather than getting £600–700 a month as a bed set, we can turn this into a really nice hotel room, helping ourselves to thousands of pounds each and every single month. So this could be a £200 a night room. It's maybe £6,000. If we fully book it, that's £6,000 a month coming in, which is much better than a bed set. And that's really important for valuation purposes, because we always want to use bank debt. We don't want to just use all of the James Sinclair stash of cash or our business's stash of cash. We want to use bank debt. And it's really important that you have a minimum of 30 rooms for banks to get really comfortable on hotels. So all the big banks, HSBC, for example, they will only lend on hotels as long as there's a minimum of 30 rooms. And finding out that sort of data, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, is really important for the sectors that you operate in, because banks will have had their fingers burned over the decades that they've been operating, and they've got all these smart people working in their risk analysis teams and gone, hey, hotels that have got at least 30 rooms are a lot more profitable than the hotels that have only got 15 rooms. They've done all that working out. And so I just swipe and deploy all of their smart tactics and put it into my business. So we're going to get this to a minimum of 30 rooms. And do you know what? When you find out all that stuff that banks have worked out, the sellability value of your asset, of your business, usually goes through the roof as well. For example, let's look at day nurseries, another business that I'm in. If you've got a day nursery that's only got 35 spaces, no one will want to buy that when you exit. It just doesn't make enough money to get economies of scale. That's why day nurseries need to be a minimum of 70 spaces to get real bang for your buck in terms of profitability. It's going to be exciting, this though, gang. Look at this. We've got this oldie worldy town around us. It's like a Victorian postcard, this. It's going to be good. I can't wait to get this up to the standard of the rest of the hotel, start booking this out. And what's really good, as soon as we open up one of these rooms, we start seeing bookings instantly straight away. But how much does it cost? That's the big question. We budget around £20,000 per room to get this looking like the previous room that you've just seen. Got to use the best mattresses, the best furniture, the best bathroom fittings, electrics, fire alarms, fire rated stuff. It all costs a lot of money. So if you budget around £20,000 to refurbish a room, then you're on the bright money. Now, talking about other opportunities here, this is the restaurant area. Now, back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, this was a Forte Post House hotel, and the restaurant was a big part of the business. Now, if you've got a restaurant today, you need to have at least 100 covers to make money. You know, I was talking about you need at least 30 rooms for a hotel and at least 70 spaces for a day nursery to make money. If you're running a restaurant, at least 100 covers. And if you can get more, then you get more bang for your buck and you get the economies of scale kicking in. One head chef can look after a 200-seater restaurant. One maitre d', one big restaurant manager can look after 200 covers as much as they can look after 50, 60 covers. And that's really important. So what I wanted to do here was, look, we've got this massive restaurant or massive kitchen, and I'll show you the restaurant in a moment, but we're really only using it for breakfast and a little bit of restauranting, a little bit of lunch work. But here's the thing, right, here's the thing. Restaurants are very fickle businesses. You need someone that's got an owner-managed mentality. Now, whilst I've got coffee shops and ice cream parlours, and that's a much more light touch approach to catering compared to a proper restaurant. And so I want to joint venture this with someone that really knows what they're doing, that, you know, understands that you need to be here till 1 o'clock in the morning doing your prep, that's on detail, that takes ownership over the space. So I'm really looking for a joint venture partner to run this with me. And then what I think we need to do is take this kitchen and turn it into seating, and then use another part of the building at the back, and it fell over there, another part of the building at the back to be the restaurant. Because over here, you'll see, come with me, in here, this is the restaurant area. And I don't know how many, I think we've got 45 seats. You just can't make money. Now I've replaced the furniture and tarted it up a bit, and we're just using this for breakfast. It really frustrates me because we've got all this real estate just not being used. So once we've got that kitchen area as restaurant as well, we'll get 120 covers in here, hopefully. Find a joint venture partner that really wants to open a brilliant restaurant here. And I think we can have a massive bonus on top of what we're already doing. So let's talk about the numbers now and see why that would make such a difference to the profitability of this place. Now, before we get into the numbers, let's talk about models. Now, I've spoken about this a lot on the channel, and it's one of my favorite things to do now to help entrepreneurs and business owners. Improving your business model is just so important. So let's look at the model for a hotel. You could have a 15-room hotel. That's an okay business model. Having a 30-room hotel plus is a much better business model. So we want to take okay business models, which is most businesses, and look for the great business models. Now, having a restaurant here improves the model because that's more secondary spend, but actually having 120 plus covers restaurant, there's 120 seats, is much better than a 60-seat restaurant because you're getting economies of scale on the person that's running the restaurant, the chef, etc., etc. Also, with the bar, having a good bar, which we've got. Maybe you've got car parking revenue. If anyone's stayed in a London hotel, they're helping themselves to loads of cash on car park revenue. And basically, we want to look for levers to tweak the model so it becomes a great model rather than an okay business model. For us, 30 rooms plus is a much better business model than a 15-room hotel. Hard to make money here, 30 plus rooms, making money becomes a lot easier. Now, let's talk about economies of scale just quickly here. I've spoken about it a lot on the channel, but I think it's really important that we understand it. Economies of scale. So those room numbers, having as many as possible makes a big difference. And remember that bit I told you about HSBC Bank, really only like lending on hotels where there's 30 plus rooms. They've done all the research. Go and ask banks, what is their lending criteria on the sector that you operate in? And usually you find that if you find what they're looking at is the lending criteria, that's really good for selling your business, because we're always building a business to sell, even if we have no intention of selling it. So do your research, find out what's a bank's lending criteria, steal all that information and implement it into your business model. Like the hotel, for example, also benefits from that restaurant, and knowing that it's 120 plus rooms makes it much more profitability because of that economies of scale. It also comes into the rooms. You've got a chambermaid manager that looks after all the rooms. She might as well be the manager of 30 rooms over 10 rooms. So economies of scale, really important, massive important part of the numbers in your business. Now let's do the profit and loss. Now I've got the profit and loss here, and I live by management accounts, the profit and loss monthly management accounts, patata. Here I'm looking at my July numbers. We brought in 86,000 of revenue. I think this might over here. June we brought in 77,000, May 74,000. Most months are pretty consistent, although we had a spike in July. What I find really interesting about this place is the hotel accommodation, 35, 38,000, then 48,000. We had that spike in July, probably because we had more rooms. But look at the drink sales. This blows my mind with this place, how regular the income is. 35,000 in May, 35,900 in June, 35,137. It's like within £1,000 regular income. So we've got that nice steady drink sales. Our car parking income, pretty consistent, although £1,500 to £900 a month. Now, these aren't management accounts. They're not as accurate as a year-end set of accounts, but they give you a good idea of what the business is performing like. I wanted to just come down here and show you what we're purchasing in the bar. 13,000 in May, 13,000 in June, 12,500 in July. Lovely seeing those steady numbers compared to the revenue. It's really important you're taking stock takes for a business like this. If your gross profit fluctuates, that's a good way of finding out if people are stealing from you, but that seems pretty consistent, and that's why you have an opening and closing stock take. Another interesting fact here, let's look at these numbers here. This is the commissions. This is the commissions that you're paying to Airbnb or Booking.com to get customers. So we paid $2,500 in May, and we brought in $35,388, $2,800, $38,266, $3,300, bringing in £48,500. Now, this is really great news for us as a business, because what we're seeing is we're seeing the dominance of Booking.com, the dominance of Airbnb and Expedia diminishing as we're getting more and more direct customers. And that's one of my biggest learns from running a hotel. Let's get direct customers, let's own the customers, and stop paying Booking.com for all of the commission fees. The other thing here, salary's pretty consistent, 25,000 in May, that was a 5-week month, and it's 20,000 in June, 21,000 in July. So we're seeing nice, steady $5,000 a week to run the hotel in terms of wages. Now, when that restaurant opens up, that's going to spike like nobody's business, and that's why I want to do that joint venture partnership. I did look at the utilities costs here as well. If you look at the utilities costs, it's around £3,500 to £5,000 a month if you add in gas and electric. The cleaning for the rooms, a lot of people say to me, oh, you should outsource all of the linen. We find it pretty easy to do it ourselves all in-house. The profits, we're making anywhere between £6,000 and £23,000 a month at the moment. But that's an operating profit, it's not a net profit. And when you think about refurbishing rooms, and if we're chucking in 20,000 of CapEx each month, it can take you a while to start turning that operating profit or your EBITDA profit into net profit. Let's see what happens at the end of the year. Might make another video and give you a complete update on the actual net profits. But I'm happy to see a 20,000 on average operating profit from the hotel. And when you look at that in terms of anywhere between 80,000 and 110,000 of revenue each month, I'm a happy man. So let's see if it contributes to a net profit by the year end. We're only at month 4 at the time of recording this in our financial year. It's good business. The problem is it's a 24/7 business. What I also like about it is very good for inheritance tax. Should I die, my family won't have to pay inheritance tax on this. It's very good for capital gains tax if you sell this as a trading business, which is really advantageous at the time of recording. I mean, budgets do change, so that might change. So yeah, I think it's a good business. Hopefully you've got a lot from this video. Hopefully I've given you a flavour of what the hotel business is like. I can't wait to see where we'll be from an end in mind point of view. Once we've got this really cooking in 3 or 4 or 5 years time, I think this will be a £3.5 million turnover business making £800,000, £900,000 a year. It's going to take 5 years, maybe 7 years to get there, but I'm very excited about it. The early signs of this type of business, for me, very exciting. And also subscribe to the James Sinclair newsletter. Every Monday morning at 7 a.m, I release a newsletter with all of my thoughts on business from the previous week. It's completely free to do. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, there is here. It's called the James Sinclair newsletter, and you can sign up on my website, jamessinclair.net. All details, there's a link in the video description. See you soon, gang.